Welcome to the Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva, and we're dressed a little fancy today because it's the awards show. We are giving out MVP, Cy Young, Manager of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and 2 fun awards I came up with myself. But before we start the show today, go ahead, subscribe to Playbook Sports, leave a like and comment. Playoff predictions are coming out next week, and you don't want to miss who I jinx and who I think is going to win the World Series. Spoiler, I don't think it's going to be the Dodgers. But we start today with one of the awards I came up with myself called the Jerry DePito Award. That goes to a team that wins about 54% of their games, as he famously said in the offseason this year. And that award is actually a tie this year between the Houston Astros and the Atlanta Braves. Now, Houston, it's gotta hurt if you're the Mariners, because not only was your stated goal to win 54% of your games this year, not only is Houston doing that, but they're beating you for the division. It's rough. Atlanta, down year from them, but they're winning 54% of their games, so it counts as a success in Jerry DePito's mind. Oh, and yeah, they both won World Series in the past 3 years, so tough one. Now, we begin with one of the actual awards, Manager of the Year, and we start in the American League. Third place this year, I'm giving it to Alex Cora. This Red Sox team wasn't expected to do much going into the year, and yeah, you got a lot of solid contributions, particularly from Duran, who has been phenomenal this year. Devers is doing Dever things, and Abreu, we'll talk about him in a little bit. But ultimately, they fought for a playoff spot for the longest time. They ultimately probably will not get there, but to see this team compete and set a foundation for the next few seasons, that's all you can really ask for. Cora had a great season manager-wise. Now, it's really tough for the top 2 because everyone knows it's between Stephen Vogt of the Guardians and Matt Quatraro of the Royals. And ultimately, in second place, I have to give it to Matt Quatraro. Yes, this Royals team was expected to do less going into the season, and yes, he really got a lot out of them, especially with how bare bones the lineup is. If you look behind Witt, Pasquantino, and Perez, and the pitching staff is phenomenal, but the bullpen is not. To be where they are right now is a managerial masterclass from him. But ultimately, I went with Vogt because this Guardians team was not expected to win the division. Everyone was going with either Kansas City as like a dark horse, but the Twins were the overwhelming favorite in division. Not only to smash them in the division, have such a big lead, but 2, they were the best team in baseball for a majority of the summer. They're playing fantastic, inspired ball. The bullpen, he seems to pull every right lever at the right time. His rotation is not great, but he's making do with it and is putting together very solid lineups. You can go either way with this one, but the highs this Guardians team reached really solidified the fact that Vogt is the AL Manager of the Year. The NL Manager of the Year, in third place, I have Mets manager Carlos Mendoza. In what was supposed to be a rebuilding year, he has them currently tied for the second wild card, and it's a great season for them overall. Again, this was a roster not expected to go far in the playoffs or even make the playoffs to begin with, and they're just doing it so consistently. He's got a lot out of the pitchers in the one-year deals. He's putting together good lineups, and he's really managed to find a bullpen strategy that really works because Edwin Diaz has not been lights out. 2022 Edwin Diaz, he's kind of the mean Edwin Diaz they kind of had at the beginning this season, but he's still put together a solid bullpen despite all that. Great season managerially from him. Surprisingly, in second place, though, I have the Brewers' Pat Murphy. Yes, they lost Corbin Burns in the offseason. They lost Devin Williams for a majority of the season. They lost Brandon Woodruff. They lost Christian Yelich, and they became the first team to clinch. They won their division yesterday. But ultimately, they still have so much great talent on this roster. We know that I love William Contreras. He really had a great prospect in Jackson Chourio, who has been phenomenal this year as a rookie, and he has that fantastic bullpen, and the Brewers really know how to develop pitching. So it wasn't as hard of a job as it seemed, especially because the Central was wide open going into the year. You had everyone predicted to win that division except the Pirates. So great job from him, just not the best job in the NL. And call me biased, I really am not, because I did say at the beginning of the show, my beloved Dodgers will not be winning the World Series this year to spoil my playoff predictions. But Dave Roberts should be Manager of the Year. I get it. His bullpen management sucks. I get it. This team spent $1 billion in the offseason. However, Our rotation is Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Jack Flaherty, and 3 cashiers from McDonald's at this point. The rotation has been decimated, devoured, any word you want to describe it. They salted the earth where our rotation once stood. And yet, this team still has the second best record in the National League. No Mookie Betts for a while, no Max Muncy for a while. Freddie Freeman missed games this year. And despite all that, the team still has the second best record in the National League. They're probably going to win the National League West, barring a historic collapse, which is not out of the question for this team. The bullpen has been shaky at moments, but is still one of the best units in baseball. You really have to give it up to Roberts. Friedman did do a lot of work, but when you're running out lineups with like Miguel Rojas, Kike Hernandez, and Austin Barnes trying to win games, and you're still winning a good chunk of them, that shows like Dave Roberts really has a great hold of this clubhouse, really managing the team well. I know he's not going to win the award, but he deserves serious consideration because Atlanta just got hit with a similar plague of injuries as we did. They're currently 2 games out of a playoff spot. Brian Snitker is not a bad manager. It's just he got dealt a shitty hand. Roberts got dealt the same shitty hand, and he's going to win a much more competitive division. That's why he should be Manager of the Year in the NL. Now we go to the second and final award that I created, and I call it the David Tepper Award for the worst Ram franchise of the year. And that, of course, is obvious. It's the Miami Marlins. Dear God, you had one of the brightest baseball minds working for you. Kim Nee did a fantastic job building up this organization and had you in the playoffs. Yes, you got smoked by Philadelphia, but who doesn't get smoked by Philadelphia in the playoffs these past 2 seasons? They're a playoff machine. But you had a base to go on, and yes, I understand you got a lot of pitching injuries, but to essentially demote her, it's ridiculous. And then, of course, when she leaves and the guy you put in charge doesn't know what the hell he's doing, of course the team's gonna regress and gonna look bad. That's what bad franchises do. You're the Carolina Panthers of baseball. I'm sorry, someone has to tell you. Now we get to the good awards, the Rookie of the Year, and once again, we start in the American League. Third place was an interesting competition. Apologies to Luis Hill. First of all, I've been pronouncing your name wrong the whole season, and I'm sorry about that. But second of all, you're not third place. It's Wilyer Abreu. On the year, he's hitting .262, 14 home runs, 57 RBIs, a 119 WRC plus, 3 outs above average, but he's really a premier defender in center field, or at shortstop. I don't know why he was in center for a while, especially with how good Duran has been out there. But ultimately, he has been a pleasant surprise for this Red Sox team, having a great year overall. Better hitter than Hill is a pitcher, and really deserved that third spot, and really should just be recognized, because he's not really getting a lot of attention in the national media, and I think he should be. But the race is really down to 2 men, and that is Austin Wells of the New York Yankees and Colton Cowser of the Baltimore Orioles. And I'm going to be honest, this was probably one of not the closest award to decide, because these two are neck and neck. Let me just read you the stats. Colton Cowser on the year, .240 average, 20 home runs, 70 RBIs, 115 WRC plus. Fielding wise, 11 outs above average. Fantastic fielder in the outfield. And also his arm ranks out very well, 96th percentile in arm strength. Austin Wells, behind the dish, he's hitting .247, 13 home runs, 50 RBIs. 116 WRC plus in about 20 less games, but we can explain that away because catchers don't play every day, and he got a little bit of a later start and really had to win that starting catcher job, which he now has in New York. And again, fantastic defensively. 12 fielding runs as a catcher, 96th percentile as a framer. He's really challenging Patrick Bailey as the best defensive catcher in baseball, and if you know Patrick Bailey, that's a very high bar. So ultimately, what do you value the most? And in second place, unfortunately, I had to give it to Colton Cowser. Yes, he's been fantastic. He's a great bat. He's one of the consistent hitters in this Baltimore lineup. But, he plays a less valuable position than catcher, and he's about similarly offensive to Wells. And like I said before, 20 games difference, especially if the player you're competing with is a catcher, is not that significant if you guys are putting up about the same stats and you play a less valuable position. You had a fantastic year, don't be ashamed. It's just Wells is so much better in a premium position. I had to give it to him. NL Rookie of the Year, again, tough race overall. The top two, you're really splitting hairs here. Third place, though, is the aforementioned Jackson Chourio. I really wish he could get more recognition in this race. It kind of feels like 2018 when everyone's talking about Buehler and Acuna, and they had a lot of great players down ballot. Chourio is one of those. On the year, 273 average, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, 72 RBIs, 4 outs above average in the outfield. Fantastic season from him. He was slow going in the beginning and then really just caught fire and really stepped up after Yelich went down. That was the pivotal moment in this Brewers season, and he filled that void, and he filled it pretty damn well if you ask me. It's a shame because the top two, Skeens and Merrill, are so phenomenal that they're really burying him and Crow Armstrong. Even like Tyler Fitzgerald of the Giants, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, when he was healthy, could have been in contention for this award. But deep down, we all knew it was going to be between Paul Skeens and Jackson Merrill. And again, this is another close one. You're splitting hairs. Let's get into the numbers here. Jackson Merrill on the year hit .290, 23 home runs, 85 RBIs, 16 stolen bases, 8 outs above average in center field. Phenomenal season from Merrill. He might be the MVP of this Padres team, and you have names like Tatis, Machado, Bogarts in that lineup, and he might be the best hitter. That shows how much he has worked and how high his ceiling really is, because fantastic season from him. But let's not discount Paul Skeens. 20 innings pitched with a 10-2 record, a 2.10 ERA, 151 strikeouts, a whip under 1, 26 run value as a pitcher. That ranks in the 96th percentile in all of baseball. We all know about Paul Skeens at this point, Mr. Livy Dunn himself. He started the All-Star game, and what really is the thing about Skeens is coming up, everyone was like, his IVB on his fastball, like his fastball is overrated, he just throws it hard. And yeah, he throws a hard fastball, but he's throwing a lot less pitches, 100 miles an hour, than when he first came up. And the fastball is still as effective as ever, because a good fastball that you can locate is still a good fastball. I don't care if his IVB is shit. I don't care if his spin rate is shit. If you can locate it and you can throw it 99, it's very hard for hitters to hit, especially with how it plays off his famous splinker. It's really a great, devastating pitch combination, which really has a lot of hitters baffled and confused in the plate. When he's on, he is the most unhittable player in baseball. But lest we forget, Merrill has had clutch home run after clutch home run. He has set an MLB record with 6 go-ahead home runs in the 8th inning or later this season as a rookie. That is the kind of clutch factor you have as a rookie. Phenomenal, but it's only good enough for second place. I'm sorry, Skeens has been the best pitcher in baseball since he's come up. He's been must-watch television. They don't give the All-Star game start to just anybody, to rookies. It's very hallowed and sacred to start the All-Star game, as foolish as it may sound. But truly, there was a whole thing about Kershaw versus Alcantara when the All-Star game was in LA in 2022, and that Alcantara was a better pitcher. Why didn't he start? But it was in Los Angeles. Kershaw had never started before, and it really was his time. People really take this seriously. And the fact that it went to a rookie and not a single person said, well, I think it should be Chris Sale, or, I think Zach Wheeler's having a really good season. No! It's because Skeens is must-watch television. He's a fantastic pitcher. I love Jackson Merrill, and it pains me to say this, but if you're competing with someone who's been the best at their position since they came up, you can't be the best rookie. I'm sorry. Now, we go to the Cy Young Awards, and it's a little contentious. I have some hot takes here, and we begin in the American League. In 5th place, I have Kansas City Royals co-ace Cole Reagans. On the year, he threw 173 innings pitched, 3.31 ERA, good for a 1.26 ERA plus, a 1.15 whip, 10.96 Ks per 9, 3.2 walks per 9, and 0.78 home runs per 9. Overall, Reagan's has been a fantastic pitcher this year. He's got some of the best stuff in the league. Striking out guys plenty, really helping to anchor this fantastic Kansas City rotation. But if you know one thing about how I vote for the Cy Young, I don't like walks. That walk rate is really high for a Cy Young contender. Fifth was about as high as I can put him, which is right next to his rotation mate Seth Lugo, who came in at fourth. Lace spinny curveball man himself threw 193 and 2/3 innings for a 2.94 ERA, good for a 1.45 ERA plus, a 1.09 WHIP, 7.89 Ks per nine, 2.19 walks per nine, and under a home run per nine as well. Lugo has just been eating innings and been doing it in such a great way. He has really been the most underrated signing of the year. No one really talks about the fact that Lugo going to Kansas City really helped unlock the potential of this team. Great season from him overall, but he does not finish in the top three. Instead, that third spot goes to Logan Gilbert of Seattle. A little bit of a surprise if you kind of look at the betting odds, but I really do believe in Gilbert. He's thrown 191 and 2/3 innings with a 3.24 ERA, good for a 1.14 ERA plus, a league leading .89 WHIP, 9.3 strikeouts per nine, 1.6 walks per nine, and a touch over a home run per nine overall. Logan Gilbert, really splitting hairs with him and Lugo for third place, but it's the fact that he's striking out more guys, walking less guys, and I don't want to say a negligible difference, but an insignificant enough difference between home runs per nine in these two that I really think that Gilbert is the better pitcher. He's just been a victim of a very shitty Seattle offense. I don't really include records because wins are not a pitcher's stat. I've had this debate with my dad for years. I'm sure I will continue to have this debate with him. But, a 6-9 record is not the best record, and I think that's his record off the top of my head. It's just been rough for him in Seattle. He's doing the best he can. The cutter has been his best pitch this year, and it has made the four seam more effective too, playing off that cutter. That's really been the difference that's unlocked Gilbert back to his 2022 form. Fantastic season for him overall. And in second place, this is a little bit of a surprise. I have Tariq Skubal in second place. I know he has the American League pitching triple crown at the moment. He's thrown 180 innings for a 2.78 ERA, good for a 1.64 ERA plus, a WHIP under 1, 10.7 Ks per nine, 1.65 walks per nine, 0.75 home runs per nine, and a 33 pitching run value, which will come into play in about a minute or two. But overall, Skubal has had a fantastic year. He was the Stat Nerd Cy Young pick, and they were right, as they usually are. The sinker usage has been up 9% this year, really helping him overall, and the batting average against that sinker has dropped by 19 points. The fastball is just as good and nasty, but we know this. He's got a fantastic fastball overall. The slider has been more effective because it's being thrown less, really mixed, changes pitch mix, looks pretty damn good overall. A phenomenal season for Skubal. He's gonna win the American League Cy Young. Let's not get it twisted here. This is my personal takes. This isn't who I think is gonna win. And you're gonna see why I have this preface in a second. Because in first place, you're looking, and I haven't said the name Corbin Burns yet, and you're thinking, it has to be Burns, right? It's not. He's really taken himself out of a race with a very poor second half of the year. So he's not in my top 5. Instead, I can't believe I'm going to say this, Emmanuel Clase is my American League Cy Young. I'm as shocked as you are, but when I looked at it, this is one of the best reliever seasons of all time, and I don't know why people aren't celebrating him more than they are. And they're celebrating him a lot, let's not get this wrong. But the season he's having is phenomenal. Let's get into it. He has thrown 68 1/3 innings with a .60 ERA. That is the third best ERA with a minimum of 60 innings pitched in MLB history. A 6.22 ERA plus, a .66 WHIP, 8.02 strikeouts per nine, just a touch over 1 walks per 9 inning, .27 home runs per nine, 83.7 left on base percentage. And I bring this up because as a closer, you gotta strand dudes and you gotta prevent them from coming in. 83.07 is phenomenal in that stat. Yes, he's blown 3 saves, But not every closer can be perfect nowadays. You're not going to see those Eric Gagne seasons, who coincidentally was the last reliever to win this award. And now he has a pitching run value of 29. I bring this up because pitching run value looks at situations you're in and the run expectancy chart. So let's say you got second and third, 1 out. I think the run expectancy on that is like 1.29 or something. You shut the door, that goes into your run value stat, and it's cumulative. Now, cumulative is the operative word here because the more you pitch, the more chances you get to accumulate pitching or to pitching run value. And the fact that there's about 120 innings pitch difference between Skubal and Clase, and then they're so close in run value with the phenomenal efficiency Clase has this year. Yeah, run value is not the end-all be-all. It's not a perfect stat by any means, but if you're so close with this amount of efficiency, yeah, I'm going to give it to you. You're having one of the all-time seasons as a reliever, and I think it should be recognized. Skubal, don't get me wrong, is phenomenal. But Clase, I know we throw around the term next Mariano Rivera a lot. Like Kenley Jansen had it for a while, and then he started to emulate and collapse on himself. But Emmanuel Clase is about as close as we're going to get to Mariano Rivera because he is throwing basically nothing but cutters, and the cutter is so good. 151 batting average against, 217 slugging. Are you fucking kidding me? A 3.1 run value per 100 pitches. That is unprecedented. It's phenomenal. I hope I've made this case well and I don't just seem like a Stephen A. Smith hot takes for the sake of it. I legitimately believe Emmanuel Clase is having an all-time season, and I think he should get the silverware for it. He's not going to. I know he's not going to. But I want to make the case here that Clase should be the American League Cy Young. I cannot wait for the hate this is going to get me. But for the NL Cy Young, it's a lot tamer. I'm not going to go as hot on this one. In 5th place, I have Dylan Cease. All the stats are of his Monday, so I don't have his fantastic start he had last night against Houston as part of this. But still, he's having a phenomenal year. He's really helping to anchor this Padres rotation. On the year, he's thrown 176 innings with a 3.58 ERA, good for a 1.15 ERA plus, a 1.09 WHIP, 10.99 strikeouts per 9, 3.17 walks per 9, and a touch under a home run per 9 innings. Cease has been very good. Let's not get straight, but there's some command issues. He's walking guys. He's giving up runs at a lot higher of a clip than you would want for a Cy Young candidate. And those two things are really what holds me back, is higher walk rate than I would like, higher ERA I would like, and really this award is about pitching. So if your ERA is not great, your walk rate's not great, I don't care how good your strikeout stuff is, I don't care how good your run prevention is, you're not going to be an award winner, but you still be in the top 5 for me. In 4th place, I have Shota Imanaga. He has not been that phenomenal self he was at the beginning of the year, especially in the spring, but he still had a fantastic season overall. 116 and 3rd innings pitched, 3.03 ERA, good for a 1.33 ERA plus, a 1.02 WHIP, 8.93 Ks per 9, 1.4 walks per 9, and 1.5 home runs per 9. That is the concerning stat, is you knew what you were getting with Imanaga. He's kind of the 3 true outcomes, but as a pitcher kind of guy, and that was really what was concerning when he came over, and why he didn't get that Yamamoto type height, is the home run problem would be exacerbated with especially how much we love to elevate the ball and drive it here in America compared to Japan. The fact that he's really a true pitch pitcher and that never really works as a starter. However, if your fastball is arguably the best in the league, it really doesn't matter if you could just blow up by guys. And yeah, he's regressed significantly from his first 12 starts, I believe, but he's still putting together a fantastic season. He should finish top 5 in the Cy Young. Now we have Paul Skeens in 3rd place. You knew he was going to show up in this race at some point, you just don't know where. I put him in 3rd, and I know how this is going to sound, especially with the fact that I'm giving the American League Cy Young Award to a fucking reliever. But I really value volume over efficiency in starters because I have been burned by this as a Dodgers fan in the playoffs because our starters can't seem to go past the 6th inning since 2022, but I'm going to put that aside for a little bit. So I really value volume over efficiency, because you need to get outs as a starter. That's your number one job. If you can't go 6, you better have a fantastic 5 for me. So, he's made 20 starts, 120 innings pitched, like we said before. You know how good the fastball is. You know how good the splinter is. He's been the best pitcher since he's come up, but he doesn't have the volume of the 2 guys in front of him. And that's really what's holding him back for me, is he's probably going to win the award next year, or at least one in the next 3 years. He's that good. It's just I can't give it to him his rookie year, especially because I think the 2 guys in front of him really deserve the award. And of course, we are down to Chris Sale versus Zach Wheeler. This isn't a close one. Zach Wheeler is in second place. He's got 179.2 innings this year with a 2.60 ERA, good for a 1.56 ERA plus, a whip under 1, 9.97 strikeouts per 9, 2.45 walks per 9, and 0.9 home runs per 9 inning. Overall, Wheeler's had a phenomenal season. He's doing exactly what you expect from Zach Wheeler. He was my preseason Cy Young pick in the National League. He's eating innings, he's striking dudes out, he's preventing runs, limiting the long ball. Just a fantastic peak Zach Wheeler season. It's unfortunate that he has such great volume and pretty good efficiency, because this should really, the 2021 Cy Young Award is going to be one to talk about for a while. But it was really, looking back on it now, it should have been between him and Buehler. But Buehler didn't have a shot at winning it, so he probably should have won the award in 2021. He should have one of these by now. This is his next best chance to get one. This should be number 2, or at least his first one. But he is being absolutely spanked by Chris Sale of the Atlanta Braves. It was a move that everyone was confused by. Sale has not been healthy since that World Series in 2018. He did not look good in his starts in 2019, in 21, 22, 23. Chris Sale really seemed washed, and they really traded him for Vaughn Grissom. It seemed like a really confusing move from Alex Anthopoulos, but he shows why he's one of the best general managers in baseball, because, oh my God, Chris Sale is finally going to win his Cy Young Award with arguably the best season of his career. On the year, he's thrown 172 and 2/3 innings with a 2.35 ERA, good for a 1.77 ERA plus, a whip exactly at 1, 11.42 strikeouts per 9, 1.93 walks per 9, under half a home run per 9 innings. He has been dominant this year. And the big thing has been the 2 things. One, the changeup has been a lot better this year, a lot more chase, a lot more weak contact. Hitters are hitting like 312 against his changeup last year in Boston. He's cut that in half, really made it one of his better pitches. But his best pitch, as we all know, is that devastating wipeout slider. So the Braves made the decision, let's make the slider your primary pitch, and it's working. It's more effective than his fastball. They're throwing it more than his fastball. And it's got that characteristic movement. It's got that characteristic bat missing stuff. And throwing it more than your fastball really keeps hitters on toes. Like, if you watch one of his starts, everyone just looks confused because you sit fastball, throw slider, strikeout. Weak contact. You sit slider, he blows it by you. He's going to win his first Cy Young Award this year. He's been a much needed piece in this Braves rotation with the Strider injury. Alex Anthopoulos looks like a genius as per usual, and it's been really the most heartwarming story in baseball in my opinion this year. Is he really should have won one in his time in the AL, and he's finally going to get one in the National League. Well-deserved Cy Young for Chris Sale. Now it's time for the MVP awards. We'll talk about the National League race because it's a lot closer in the media's mind than it actually should be, but we'll start with the American League. In 5th place, I have Jose Ramirez. Fantastic season from him. He continues to be Jose Ramirez, let's put it quite frankly. On the year, he's hitting .272 with 25 home runs, 170 RBIs, 39 stolen bases. All this good for a 133 WRC plus, 2 outs above average, and 1 base running value. He is the heart and soul of that Guardians team. He continues to hit the ball all over the field with power, with good speed. He's really pushing a 40-40 season. I don't think he's going to get there. 30-30 is good enough. Great season from him overall. Love Jose Ramirez. In 4th place, I have my mid-season pick, Gunnar Henderson. He's hitting .282, 37 home runs, 87 RBIs, 19 stolen bases. Good for a 158 WRC plus. -1 outs above average at short, and 3 base running runs in value. He's really regressed from that hot start he had. He was really neck and neck with Judge in the home run race. Fantastic WRC plus, great base running, good defense at short, and it's really like fallen off a cliff. Like when I went to Shohei Ohtani bobblehead and really watched him for the first time in a long time, like he was booting like routine ground balls, not making good plays at shortstop. His defense has really fallen off in the second half of the year, which is really sad to see because he's a great talent. It's fun watching him. He's a great player. It's just the 3 above him are otherworldly, quite frankly. And in third place, to no one's surprise, it's Juan Soto. 285 average, 39 home runs, 101 RBIs, 176 WRC plus, -3 outs above average in the outfield. But you're not paying him to be an outfielder, quite frankly. You're paying him to walk, have phenomenal contact, great power, as we're starting to see this year. Juan Soto, this is the best year of his career, and he's in third place, which shows you the talent at the top of the American League. He's going to get paid, I'm not going to say $700 million because that's ridiculous, but he's going to get 13 years, like $550, $600 million. He is the best young talent. He's as close to Ted Williams as you're going to get in modern day baseball. Perfect hitter overall, just not a great base runner, not a great defender. And ultimately, the 2 guys in front of him are great base runner and defender in one, and the greatest hitter since steroid Barry Bonds. I don't want to say Barry Bonds. I'm not giving him credit for that. But in second place, we have Kansas City Royals shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. On the year, he's hitting .331 with 31 home runs, 103 RBIs, 28 stolen bases, good for a 166 WRC plus, 17 outs above average at shortstop with 4 base running value. He is the most complete player in baseball. He is what you think of as a 5-tool player. He had so much hype coming out of the draft, and he's lived up to it. There's a reason why that Kansas City gave him the deal he did. He signed through, I believe, 2033, something ridiculous like that. And he's proven he's worth every penny and then some. You know, amazing defender, amazing bat-to-ball skills, great power, great base running. He is a complete player and really wins this award 9 times out of 10. Unfortunately, this is the 10th time because Aaron Judge, despite the post-Paw Patrol slump he's been on, and really cost him another shot at going for the home run record, is still having an ungodly season at the plate. On the year, he's hitting .321 with 53 home runs, 132 RBIs, a 214 WRC plus, which, for those who don't know, WRC plus is a measure of how many runs you create as a hitter, normalized for the year you play in and your park environment, so you can't say, oh, but there's the short porch in right. That's where he gets all his home runs from. Yankee Stadium's a Little League park. Well, it normalizes for that, okay? And he's twice as good as the average baseline hitter in baseball. I don't care who you are. If you're twice as good at flipping burgers at McDonald's, I would want you on my fry cook team. If you're twice as good as driving the bus, I'm going to put my kids on that bus, okay? So, of course he's going to be the MVP. I don't care that his defense is poor. I don't care that he's a bad base runner. He is an ungodly, otherworldly hitter. He's phenomenal. He's Aaron Judge. There's not much you can say about him at this point. Even with the fact that he's had an extended slump where he's hitting under 200, and he's still twice as good as the league average hitter, shows you how good Aaron Judge truly is. That's unfortunate because there's so much good competition in the American League, because when I did the NL, man, it was a real struggle going 4 and 5. I'm going to be honest with you. Everyone says put Marcell Ozuna. I don't acknowledge Marcell Ozuna, so he's not on my list. Instead, I have Elly De La Cruz in 5th place. He's hitting .257 on the year, 24 home runs, 69 RBI, 64 stolen bases, good for a 119 WRC plus, 14 outs above average at short, and 3 base running value. This isn't the peak of Elly. You're really expecting more power if you were looking at peak Elly, but still the base running is phenomenal. The strikeout rate, yeah, is still there, but he's still making good contact overall. The defense has been there for sure. That arm at shortstop is electric. That's where he gets some of his value as a fielder. I'm not going to attribute it all to that arm. He has phenomenal range, not as good as Witt or another shortstop we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But, this is a great baseline for him to build off of. If he can cut down the strikeout rate, he really is a true contender for the award. Just a fantastic season from him overall. In fourth place, I have Bryce Harper. Yeah, he had that 1 month home run drought, but still the numbers, even taking that into account, are fantastic. 289 average, 28 home runs, 82 RBIs, good for a 148 WRC plus, and 7 outs above average at shortstop, or at first base. Yeah, he changed position and happens to be a great defender at first base too, by the way. So you had to put a Philly on there at some point. Harper, not a peak Bryce Harper season by any means. We saw that in 21. We saw that in 2015, obviously. But again, if this is not a peak Bryce Harper season, it's a peak season for someone else out there because it's a great year for him overall. Really the heart and soul of this Phillies team. Great hitter. Unfortunately, that slump really did kill his chances. The injury really did kill his chances at this award because the three in front of him are quite obvious the top three in the National League. And in third place, we have Ketel Marte, who is hitting .293 on the year. 31 home runs, 85 RBIs, good for a 147 WRC plus, 6 outs above average at second base. I'm going to need some crow on this one because I've never really been a Ketel Marte guy. Because I watched him for a long time because I watch a lot of NL West baseball, obviously. And I just never really was blown away by his game. So in 2019, I'm like, this is not sustainable. This is not Ketel Marte. And I was proven right in 21 and 22, but he's really come back with a vengeance these past few years. And he's put up his best season of his career. And I'm going to eat crow. He's a great player. I've looked down on him from so long. I'm not going to do that anymore. Great hitter, good defender, solid base runner overall. Great leader in that Diamondbacks clubhouse. Overall, I was wrong. Ketel Marte is a good player. But I'm saving what energy I have left here because this NL MVP race really makes me mad. And I'm not just saying this as someone who roots for Shohei Ohtani every day, watches him every day, and really appreciated him way before he broke out in 2021. Because I like Francisco Lindor, I really do. He's a very disrespected player, he's a very underrated player. Right? He's having a great year. Let's just get into it. On the year, he's hitting .271, 31 home runs, 86 RBIs, 27 stolen bases. He's going to have a 30-30 season, 136 WRC plus, 17 outs above average, 1 base running value at shortstop. Now, it's a great season. No one's denying that. He might win the Platinum Glove at shortstop, okay? However, you have to take into account the fact that he is not as good of a hitter as Ohtani. I think everyone on the planet can acknowledge this. So the question becomes, how much is good defense at shortstop worth? I think it's worth a lot. However, it's not worth the difference between him and Ohtani as a hitter. It's just not, okay? Lindor is a very good hitter. Again, a 136 WRC plus is very respectable, okay? But Shohei Ohtani on the year is hitting .290 with 47 home runs. Again, this was before I put all these down on Monday. I didn't update them, okay? 106 RBIs, 48 stolen bases, 166 WRC plus, 45 batting runs, and a base running run, okay? Now, he's gonna go 50-50, which isn't very impressive, but it shouldn't win you the award overall. However, he's a fantastic hitter. He's putting the ball in play in places you didn't think could be reached. On top of that, too, he has what he calls his Ichiro swing, meaning 2 strikes, he shows up, makes good contact. So, the question is, how good of a hitter Ohtani is? Does that make up the difference, the fact he doesn't play the field? I think yes, because aside from Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, he's the 3rd best hitter in the league. He is a great base runner. Lindor is just as good too. But the defense, what makes this MVP race so frustrating for me is last year between Betts and Acuna, everyone's like, well, the base running season Acuna is having is very good. 70 stolen bases is 70 stolen bases. And yeah, we can overlook his defense because, he's just a phenomenal base runner in this power speed season. We've never seen anything like it, right? But now all of a sudden defense is the end-all be-all Because God forbid we give a Dodger the award. No, I get it. In all honesty, Ohtani should not win the MVP award this year because he's going to monopolize it for however long he's going to pitch as a Dodger. That's how much value he adds as a pitcher. Every year he pitches and hits, he's probably the MVP because he adds so much value. So this was really the last chance for everyone in the NL to put their best season together and really make a case for the MVP. Unfortunately, if he puts all his energy into hitting and base running, it turns out he might be the best at both because this is the most efficient 40-40 season in league history. So now defense matters when a Dodger is going up for the award when it didn't matter last year. And yes, I said defense mattered in the Betts Acuna race because it was very close. So defense was the tiebreaker. Unfortunately, it's not very close with Ohtani as a hitter because he's leagues better than Lindor, who himself is a very good hitter. So yeah, Ohtani is the NL MVP. Long live the reign of Shohei Ohtani, the MVP, who's gonna probably go home with like 5 or 6 of these motherfuckers at this point because he's that good. Let's not discount him. Let's not take him for granted. Let's not hate him. Let's appreciate him while we still have him. But let me know, am I wrong? Is Francisco Lindor the MVP of the NL? I know you guys are going to say I'm wrong about the American League Cy Young, and I'm looking forward to that in the comments. And most importantly, should I acknowledge Marcell Ozuna's case in this race? Because I feel like I'm going to get some hate for that too. Let me know all this down in the comments below. As always, leave a like, subscribe to Playbook Sports. The playoff predictions are coming next week, and it's going to be interesting to say the least who I have winning the World Series because it's a tight year this year. And don't forget, on the way out, play ball.